Hello, everybody. I'm Trevor from Crowd Tamers. I am here with Tom from X-Ray.Tech. Tom and I have been talking a bunch about AI and about how to use AI in your business. I do remain convinced that there's not going to be a million AI businesses, but I think every business will be putting AI into their business. And one of the things that, of course, I talk a lot about is GTM, go-to-market, building and launching and scaling. And Tom came to me on Monday with, "Hey, I've got this new thing I want to figure out how to package up and sell." And I thought that's a perfect example of both go to market and of some of the new stuff I'm doing with AI in go to market that previously has only been available through one of my paid courses. So, Tom, tell me about your thing.
So I'm pretty excited about it, Trevor. As you know, we've had X-Ray.Tools live in the wild for about a year now. We have a couple hundred people every day or so coming in and actually using the tool, adding their own tools, searching what their automation abilities are so that they can figure out if they can automate with it, right? Between Zapier, Make, Workato, all these automation providers, and then their individual tools like Slack and
Unito, maybe not
Unito,
them.
right? All the they're not indexed yet, but all these other tools that you're using between Slack, Zoom, and Drive, and everything else. What can you automate? And as a non-technical person, that can be a little daunting to try to figure out.
Oh yeah, oh
So
yeah.
we built X-Ray.Tools as a way of seeing all those automation abilities across all your tools, and we're giving it a pretty big upgrade in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be turned into a chatbot. So with chatbot orientation, right, you can say, I'm using these things. What can I automate with it? And it will be able to say, well, on Make, you can do this. On Zapier, you can do this. If you're trying to write some JavaScript code, you could format it like this, right? There's a whole bunch of different ways that you might want to automate using your tools. And X-Ray.Tools would be hopefully the go-to source to figure that out. So, when we talked on Monday, it was, hey, I have this new thing. How am I going to talk about it? How am I going to package it and put it out to the world? So yeah, it's happening right now. We're going to do that right
It's
now.
happening right now. That's what we're doing. I know. I had some ideas about it, but rather than poison the well with my attempts at creativity first, I thought I'd talk a bit about the way. That's the wrong set of headphones. I'm not wearing them anymore. The way that I've been teaching founders recently to tackle this. And the problem is a lot of product-led founders, people who are building things they're excited about. Like I can see how excited you are about what you can do with X-Ray Tools now. Is you want to talk about what you can do, what the
Mhm.
tool is, right? Like you can now know how to connect uh, and Google Drive together into something, and frequently that's not what your user wants. They want to know what result they get from the thing you do. Now, it can be really hard to get out of product brain and into marketing brain. And so one of the things that I have been telling people for a while is think of how to get the result of what someone who's used your product for 90 days experiences, and that's your value statement. That can still be really hard to get into. So recently in my paid courses, I've been saying, hey, here's some ChatGPT prompts that'll work really well for you. I've now kind of broken a few of those out. And anybody listening live or on the recording, you go to the bit.ly link here, GTM underscore in underscore 30 underscore min. That's not, I know, the easiest thing to type, but at least I knew it would be unique when I typed it in. That'll take you to an X-ray board. We're featuring X-Ray's product to show you how to figure out how to talk about X-Ray's product. We're reaching some kind of like nirvana centeredness of ourselves where the whole universe collapses into one quantum state. But when you open that, you go here.
It'll look like this.
It's going to look like this. I'm actually going to change to this. Maybe that looks
Yeah.
pretty good. All right. Look like this. We have a couple different areas here. One is the live session content right now. This is blank. Although I think you're going to embed the video in here, right? That's what it's loading to try and
I
find.
actually deleted it in the time that we went back
That's
and
why.
forth, but I can re-add it
Nope, no
actually.
need to re-add it. Let me refresh that. Boop, there we go. All right. So we have two different relevant things here. One is examples of some output based off of what I've been doing in ChatGPT, but the other is the prompt library. I'll start there. And our first prompt here is going to be how to develop a positioning statement. And so this is a relatively lengthy prompt. You don't need paid ChatGPT for this to work. Um, it will work in any case. Let me start a new chat here. And so when I put this in, what I'm going to have to do is update the product and the user with the correct information. So the product is X-ray.tools. And how will we describe what X-ray.tools does in your words here, Tom?
I would say it's a chatbot for an automator to learn what is possible with the tools they already use.
With the tools they're already using. And so who's our user here?
Our user is going to be a no coder or a low coder that is trying to make their day more efficient.
All right. Now, there are a few things I would add in here because it's worth noting, and I'll be giving this as feedback to everybody, not just you, Tom, although, of course,
Please.
you're here, one talk back to me. ChatGPT's knowledge of really recent stuff is relatively limited. And I suspect here's a case where we're going to want to give a little more info here. Like tools they're already using, like Zapier. We have to call it Integromat, as I doubt that they know Integromat. They know it's been rebranded to Make. What else do we have in terms of like no-code automation software?
I think you could call out specific tools too, like Slack.
With Slack, Google Drive, What's the other?
Salesforce, HubSpot, and Airtable, of course. Couldn't go this long without mentioning Airtable.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You particularly you, Airtable, and so on. There you go. So now, by calling out those specific tools, we'll get a higher quality result here. And then no code will make it more efficient by moving data across multiple tools with integration software like Zapier or Integromat. Is IFTTT still like a player in this space, or have they kind of fallen away to just no one cared about them anymore?
Generally, they have stuck really strongly to the personal and home automation sort of area, but they did release a business plan, I think last year, and have some interesting have some interesting functionality. But they were for a long time, if I do this, then I only do this, limited to a step two-step automation. They've since lifted that for paid plans and business plans. So I think they're quietly coming into the space, to be honest.
Okay. I've always known them as kind of the wonky, yes, if I enter my house and I turn my lights on, then start to play Brahms' Fifth Symphony or something like that kind of, I was working home. All right. And then we have, this prompt basically is going to spit out 9 different results with one prompt. And we're going to say, go to.
Yeah.
And now, since this is paid ChatGPT, it goes real fast. And we are a bunch of these different ones. Now, this looks a bit, I think we need to put a little more work into our user here, because one thing we haven't made clear, a low coder who they more efficient at moving data, but who doesn't know what the tools can do.
Tools capabilities are?
I mean, that's passive voice, but okay. This is not copywriting. Tools capabilities are for their use case. There we go. And then I might want to add, learn I'm going to change this to a movie automator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then we're going to regenerate the response here. Honky tonk. Okay. That's okay. More time, more profitability.
I think the
common.
emphasis is really more on like being able to understand,
Yeah,
like meet them where they're at, right? If I'm asking you a question about, how do I do authentication in Notion and JavaScript, or how do I
yeah,
connect a Notion page to an Airtable base, it's gonna sort of match the level of sophistication for the user. But
yeah.
I'm in strictly product speak right now, right? Like you're
That will explain to to someone who I'll change this a bit. Tools is an educational chatbot. I'll explain to someone who is new at creating
mm,
no code automation what is possible. There we go. Like this now. Save and submit.
let's
We
try it
do
again.
this. Yeah,
That's the beauty of this, right? We
that
can.
is. You can keep punching the monkey. And I find, unlike a copywriter who you work with, they will uh, not get mad when you keep saying no, that sucks. I like this feel accomplished and in control. Like that is actually one of the big. Speaking as somebody who's not a super good Zapier automator, every time I push start on automation, it's with a cringe,
Yeah,
wondering what horror I'm about to unleash. So I think feel accomplished and in control is a good way to think about it. Um, that would be a good secondary statement, though, right? Um, what else do we have here? Say empower, nah. These are all still a little vague. Feel accomplished and in control is good.
I think it's
Um,
probably unleash your tools potential with X-ray tools,
that's true.
right? Like
Yeah,
it's all about, because there's so much functionality in the tools that people already pay for that they're just not using,
yeah,
because they're like, sure, you have access to all the API routes, but who's going to spend the time to connect it up? And those two sentences, that number five feels closest to me, I think.
and in control when you unlock all your tool potential with X-ray. Actually, that's too long. Just there. Like that. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. One word too long. Whatever. Um, uh, then I want to do this. And then go back to how you said. Doop, 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 doop.
You have a
For sure.
12-word rule.
7 to 12 words. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's okay. Like big header, right? Subhead. Nah, this is too vague. I might accept 13 words. Um, 5? No, yeah, I'll go with this. I'll go with this for the moment, right? 7 to 12 words is my goal. This is 13. It's one word too long. But some of the words are very short, like in and you
And all.
and all. It's all right. So then there's a example of we've iterated into a headline that feels good, a value prop that feels good, right? What do you get out of this? Is you're unlocking tool potential, you're feeling accomplished and in control. And then what I'm going to do is don't start a new chat because then ChatGPT forgets everything you've been saying. Instead, what you want to do is I want to go back over to this board here and go to prompt number 2. Now, prompt number 2 is based off of how I talk about how to write a landing page, or actually, in this case, Jessica wrote it, and I can see I need to update her profile photo. I thought she's a real human. I promise you, she has a face. And this is based on some feedback I gave a while back on Twitter, and also just generally how we approach writing a landing page. It's these 9 pieces, and some of them, like CTA, show up twice. We don't need, and likewise pricing. You don't need ChatGPT to make you a pricing table. You need a human to figure out what the costs are and then figure out what you should charge for it. But all the other pieces kind of simplified down. It gets us into these 6 things that we want out of a landing page. And so I'm going to take now is first I need to take the output we worked up here. Let me just do notepad. because I'm old school like that.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't think it would take that long to load up Notepad, which is like 12 kilobytes. And yet you'd be wrong. That's again Notepad. All right, we'll work without it. Instead, we'll just paste something in. I mean, I don't know. I need to find. I'm sure I've got a text editor open somewhere. I do. I'm just going to paste this into Slack, and then I'll copy it from Slack in a moment. All right, so I'm going to grab this here. Oh, there's a copy content button, Tom.
There is. I wasn't going to be a stickler about it, but there is a simple button just to do that. That's the pin
Yeah.
type.
So then we're going to paste this in, and then what I need is to put in product.
Product and user from
Yep.
before.
Product and user from before, which is easy enough. I'm going to go grab here, this, do, and then user is likewise the same.
I think the technical term for what you're doing right now, Trevor, is called prompt engineering.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like whatever an engineer is, I am the opposite of that.
It's
All
all
right.
right.
So how did I screw this up? I did screw this up. See why I said about not being a proper engineer? I overwrote my own damn. All right. User, try this again. Oh, okay. I just screwed it all up. Tom, I shouldn't be the one operating the keyboard. I can't be trusted with it. There's paste.
It's okay. We have the time today. We're
We
not
have the
rushing.
time today. We're not
We're,
blowing
we're
through this.
usually we're usually rushing, but today
We are.
we
Okay.
have time.
And then here. There we go. And then here's my my value prop is missing. Whatever, that's fine. Value prop is here. And then there we go, like so. Okay. So this is now all set up. And then we have to change all instances of Wildgram to the actual company here. X-ray.tools, tools, like so. Wildgram is a made-up company. I basically was trying to think of a name for a company that was stupid because I usually use stupid companies for my demos when I do a live demo for a workshop. And Instagram, I saw the Instagram icon on my phone and went, Graham, what do I have with images? And I went, flowers. And I went, what do you do with flowers? And my wife is like, she's been harvesting dandelion greens recently. So I'm like, you can eat them. And then there we go. That was my whole idea for a terrible business. Anyway, so here's the prompt engineer to basically explain what this is and then to write this stuff out. And so I go, and it will blow this together. Now, a few things here.
Introducing X-ray tools.
Yeah, inevitably, ChatGPT writes long, and you have to be willing to murder it a bit because this, for example, is nobody wants to read introducing anything, right? I usually skip the whole first paragraph. Whenever I write anything, I usually skip either the first paragraph or the whole first page because it's usually all just basically the equivalent of going, but in writing form. And in this case, yes, this is also like this sounds like the worst of 1950s carnival barkers, whereas this paragraph here is actually like, okay, if I were to throw together, like, do I have I've got Figma here, right? This is you, but this is also not you. Let me just do this here real quick um, as an example of scroll out. Apparently, literally all my RAM is taken up by Slack and OneStream. That's not promising. Um, I was going to throw together a few blocks here, but instead, I guess I'll not. If I take my value prop, right, of feel accomplished and in control when you unlock all of your tools' potential, then we can have right below that something like X-ray tools is your personal education that demystifies the world of no-code automation. Like there's headline subhead, that's your hero div. And then, honestly, given your product, I would
Just put the chatbot right there, right?
I just put the chatbot right there instead of being like, "Hey, here's a graphic and you can scroll down." Like, screw that. A decent example. They changed it since, I think, but it used to be. Let me see what they're doing these days. ITO.io. Yeah, so they're showing you like a sample of how to build a workflow right there, and clickable. I'm concerned. What happened when I click on this? Oh, okay. It's a video. Okay. So like instead of having this non-interactive thing here with the video, yeah, I would just have headline, subhead, and then like, what's your question? Blinky, 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 blink, with a little cursor for you to interact with. So, all right, that, and then we have user quotes. I had the bot write some, of course. Tom can always just ask, like, "Hey, can I get a great quote from Trevor L. or from Mark C. or a number of people who you can have say, "Hey, say something nice about me on Twitter," and then I'll embed it. Like you have the social clout to make that happen.
Yeah.
If you don't, anybody listening, and this is brand new, you don't want to ask your friends, "Can you say a nice thing about me on the internet, please?" You can use these as examples of what to write, or you can literally say to your friend, "Hey, can you say this? Just tweet this, and I'll give you a beer." And for any of my friends, they'd be like, "Okay, fine, yes." Me and my 9 followers will be thrilled. So uh, then below that, we want a benefit statement, right? And a decent example might also be here. This is a page that Tom and I have worked on together. And in this case, I have my headline. I have a 1-sentence quick summary. In this case, we don't have anything interactive, just an image. A call to action, which in your case, you don't really need the call to action. You just want them to interact here. And then the benefit statement. What do you get out of this? In this case, this is a kind of a clickable series of boxes. It doesn't have to be. Like you can have the other way. I mean, here I'll do a website I know relatively well, and there's in my case like value prop, social proof. It means just some logos, and then here's benefits. Right? What do you get out of this? How do you grow? Understand users and market, and you tame the crowd. Okay. Um, Client testimonials, whatever, continues on here. But here. So, nope, here we go. This benefits would frequently go either as interactive or as I've done here, right? Graphic, text, graphic, or sorry, text, graphic, graphic, text, text, graphic, right? Just flip them back and forth. It's easy enough to build out. Then how this actually works, like what happens when you use the tool. And in your case, I might omit it because I just click on the tool and use it, right? There's a chat interface is intuitive enough that no one needs explanation. Um, you go over here, and we have
It's a
kind
much
of how this,
complicated.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a much more complicated product.
yeah, this is much more complex. So we have basically 1, 2, 3 of how this works, what you're doing out of it,
Yeah.
um, and then who it's for. We don't always include this on a page, but identifying the audience it's built for can be really handy. And again, you can tuck that in Crowd Tamers. I think we took it out finally. Yeah, we ended up removing the who it's for section, but we have we used to have basically we're for founders, for marketers, and for VCs, and then finally call to action. Like these are all too long, but something like unlock the hidden potential of your favorite tools as a button.
Yeah.
That's not bad, right?
Could you share this chat with me? I'll add it to the board here so that
Yeah. How do I just
everybody can see
the
it. Yeah, that
this?
share button.
Yeah,
Yep.
there we go. There we go. And then I will put this into your Slack.
Sure.
And so here's an example of like the output and the oh my goodness. No, there we go. Apparently when you have text already selected and you paste a link on top of it, it makes that text a link in Slack. I didn't know that.
That's it.
Anyway, and so there we are, like with all of our faffing about, right? We were 20 minutes even to build basically all the first draft positioning and all the first draft text you need for a even fairly complicated product, and that was with a bunch of iteration up at the initial positioning statement level too. So none of this copy, if you're looking at how I'm using it, I'm using straight out of the tin. And I think it is important to take what ChatGPT provides you and disassemble and remix it and just use it as a supplement to your creativity rather than a substitute for human attention. But I also think if you're really stuck with how do I talk about my features in a way that describes the value, this could be a tremendous unlock. And I don't know when we'll see the new X-rays.tools landing page come together. Uh, what do you think, Tom? Is it possible some of the language that we just generated here today with the help of ChatGPT might make it into your mix?
I do. There's a couple of nuggets here that I think are really valuable. I appreciate you sharing that link, and I updated it in the board, so anyone following along, just refresh the page, and you should be able to see that full chat dialogue here. Yeah, I think the way that you talk about what it does for people as opposed to what it does is
Yes.
it is it's more of an art than a science, I think, and it's difficult, candidly, for someone like me to be able to think in that way because I'm excited about the tech, right, and just
Yeah, yeah,
excited
yeah.
about what it can do and what it can do for me personally, right? Because I come from the philosophy world and not the software engineering world, so having a tool like this for myself is going to be incredibly useful. And I'd imagine, anyone who doesn't have a technical background and is looking at, what can I do with my tools? How can I unlock the functionality that's already there, and make it accessible for me is going to be a pretty exciting message to communicate. So I appreciate the help today.
Yeah, awesome. And likewise, any of you, right? The link here in the bottom of the Chiron GTM in 30 minutes fitly. Um, take it, use it, tweak with it, tweak with it, tweak it. There we go. Develop from there, right? These prompts are not uh, static, unchangeable things. They are just like the outputs, something you use, iterate, and tweak to make it work just for you. Um, these are I've probably done 100 or more positioning statements now using ChatGPT as like punch the monkey, get the output. And these are the best ones I've generated so far. That said, if we talk in July, I'll probably have built on these further, and then come October, yet still further. Part of it is also as the tool changes, the prompts you must engineer also must change, and the difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and 4 and the new upcoming 5, that's going to be, I forget when that's like, which is supposed to be 10x as big, and then like that's about the limit you can do because there's no more human text to look at. Like they're tapped out on humanity at this point. Uh, so like there'll be continuing iteration necessary as all these tools develop. But right now, hopefully it stands useful to you. Yeah. Any last thoughts here as we're wrapping up today?
Well, I think you're going to see, it, um, OpenAI's extensions and ChatGPT's extensions open up a whole other realm of possibility with this stuff. Like, we're sitting on a backlog of probably about a dozen different products, right? Where if we could package them in a way that made sense quickly enough, and it didn't take 12 months to do 12 different products, we would do that. And I think that having these types of prompt libraries or these types of prompts in a library that you can remix and redeploy and gain inspiration from, and at some point be able to one click, sort of build out a whole landing page based off of that. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility in 2023. I
I've
think,
seen software that does this badly already. I'm
yeah,
waiting for someone who does it
that's
well.
where we're at, right? You could do it right now badly. There's a lot of AI things like that you can do right now badly. So whether or not it hits your quality threshold is a whole other whole other discussion. But yeah, I'm just excited to see where it goes and excited to launch this new iteration. And I think we're gonna use a handful of these sentences here and have it be a pretty short page, but really direct and really precise. Fewer the words, higher impact. It's
That's
hard to do that.
that's what good copywriting is, and I agree it is hard to do. I am definitely there's two things I'm developing right now, and rather like Tom, I'm a few weeks away from launch here. One of them is I am really dialing into. Currently, my advice for people is you spend about $1,000 per channel to test on your messaging iteration, and I'm playing around with $10 and $20 tests and a little bit different way of instrumenting it, and you can get results, and you can learn some stuff on $10 and $20 spend instead of $1,000 spend. And once you start to combine those, and I'm also working with my buddy, shouldn't mention, yeah, I'm working with somebody on being able to generate ads almost instantaneously with outputs like this, using the templates that I know work really, really well. And so once we start combining very limited spends, super fast messaging delivery, and almost instant creation of the creative, it begins to be anybody can take, $100, drop it into a tool, get ads put out, and figure out, is there something here that I want to invest $1,000 in? It
Mm.
used to be my table stakes was 1 grand. If I can bring table stakes down to $100 to start to learn these things, it really gets to be anybody can afford to say, I have a business idea, I wonder if it could work.
Well, and that's the thing that I think AI is doing the most of, is allowing one person to wear even more hats,
Yeah.
right? And you're gonna see companies of 1, 3, 5, 15 people that are million, 10 million, $100 million companies.
Like known
Because
brands with 3 people behind them.
right, all of those, exactly. You'll have real brands that people know with a handful of people, and there really is no need to expand the headcount unless they really want to, because you'll be able to either automate enormous swaths of the business, or you end up outsourcing it to AI or to a firm that specializes in it, right?
Yeah.
Like these, you and I are both departments, right? Like we very much so can be, at least, right, for a period of time, and to be able to just take that business function, give it to a specialist. It's almost always going to yield better results than saying, hey, person, learn all these things that a whole department could do, right, in the early days as you are scaling up. So it's going to be an interesting mix of things happening, for these small time entrepreneurs like ourselves,
For
to figure
sure.
out where we land.
For sure. Awesome. Well, it was great getting to run this demo, and I'm going to be continuing to kind of beat the drum on this. I'm in 5 different cohorts right now with Founder Institute, all of them doing this go to market, all of them doing this figuring out how do I make positioning. Um, Anybody who's in my cohorts right now, like if I haven't given my GTM class yet, you'll be seeing this soon. But these are really what I find so interesting about this kind of thing is with prompt engineering, I can condense 20 years of copywriting into a button you can push almost. Almost. These
Almost.
aren't as good as me as a writer or as my copywriter as a writer, but it's way better than what a lot of these people are working with to start. And just say I can condense that into a button you can push. And then likewise, Tom, you're able to build these incredible automations of how work should flow. And instead of having to hire a person you pay 250 grand a year, you
Hmm.
push a button and you get the output.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely. And if you want to learn how to make automations go and do
Yeah.
all the things, we're coming out with a class with that.
And
So you
where
can
do I go to learn more, Tom? Tell me.
course.xray.tech. It's all there.
There you go.
You
Course to
can,
expert
yeah,
ethic.
we're gonna be issuing certifications for becoming a workflow designer. This intersection between the tools you already use, automation, and AI. Designing the way people work on the internet. It's a discipline in and of itself. Please join us. It's going to be a pretty amazing ride. So,
That sounds
Trevor,
awesome.
where can they find you?
Where can they? You've already found me if you're watching this live stream, but maybe not. You can always find me on Twitter at Trevor Longino, on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/Trevor Longino, and of course at crowdtamers.com. How about you, Tom?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, as you probably are watching us right now, or of course YouTube at X-Ray Automation, and our website xray.tech has all the info that we've ever produced. It's a ton of content and videos and blogs and just stuff to learn. We've seen people all over the world tuning in, and it's pretty amazing to see.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate it as always, Tom. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Take
See ya.
care.
Bye bye.